Is Black Kids in Outer Space. And today I am super, super, super excited because I have Kayla LaFortune, and she was raised, and well, she was raised and still lives in Newark. She is the founder of Girls on Bikes. She's a Rutgers graduate and is dedicated to supporting and encouraging and cheering women to go out there and ride. You know, you're like a hard woman to find. You know, I was like searching for you for like a good 6 months. I would just see these like silver balloons that had like girls on bikes. And I was like, who's this person? They're like, Kayla. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? And they're just like, act like you're some kind of being. I should just know who you are. And I'm like, my go-to line is always, hey, I'm from Los Angeles, so I don't know anything. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. So welcome to the show, Black Kids in Outer Space, Kayla.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No problem. I want to know, why did you start Girls on Bikes?
Okay, so August 2016, riding my bicycle casually in the summer in the West Ward of Newark, and I live exactly on Springfield Avenue and 20th Street.
Mm-hmm.
So just riding my bicycle casually as a meditation to see my community, to talk to my people, to observe, what my community is going through, to observe the vacant houses and empty lots and people who are just on the streets. And I enjoy doing that. But something that I realized is when I was going to the park, a gentleman spoke to me and he said that he, continued doing what I'm doing. And I was thinking about it and I'm like, continue riding bikes, continue being a Black girl riding a bicycle in Newark, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that being a girl on bicycle, that's just so basic, yet it's so groundbreaking, right, for our community to see not only a young person, but a young person of color on a bicycle riding in streets that people often deem that are unsafe. Therefore, I was motivated to encourage my own friends to ride their bicycles. And I would take pictures we would go on a bike rides and we would take pictures on Instagram, and I'll post them on my Instagram and I'll call them Girls on Bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really how it all started. So just, being a girl who was actually riding a bicycle in Newark, then encouraging my friends, my girlfriends to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Just making it an entire movement and community organization where now we encourage multiple girls all through Newark public schools to participate in recreation activities in public.
No, that's awesome. I mean, to me, it's just wonderful, like what you're doing. And plus too, since you were raised in Newark, which is great. I mean, the thing is that, I just got back from the New Jersey Bike Walk Summit this weekend, which, you're going to be there next year. Because had I been able to find you earlier, you would have been on that stage. Maybe you would have been the keynote. I don't know. But you're going to be like on my panel next year. And we were kind of talking about reaching out to communities of color, reaching out to Black people, reaching out to Latinos, reaching out to people but it's like we don't, we have a lot of time, we have this outside person, but you're an inside person, like, kind of doing what you do. And, I talked to you earlier and I asked you, I said, why did you call it Girls on Bikes? Why didn't you call it like Black Girls on Bikes? Why not? I'm a troublemaker.
So I've gotten many So, okay, let me start off here. Girls on Bikes. Mm-hmm. Now, right now, at the main time, our main content is always posted on social media pages, which is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you go on those pages, you will see people and women of color. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't say Black girls on bikes, but, we're having that conversation. Even if it doesn't say Black girls on bikes, you see all of these colored women on bicycles. So for ourselves. And, I've gotten recommendations plenty of times for people who are in branding, content branding and marketing, etc., saying that I should really specify to a specific group of people. However, I don't feel the need that we always have to specify what we're doing and whom we're doing it for. We're just regular people who are making a difference that just look different from the people who are already in the spaces that we're not invited to. And I mean that to say, we always see people of color not, participating in recreation activities, especially the activities that are expensive, such as cycling, right? People pay $500 to $1,000 for bicycles. Now, I don't know anyone personally who can afford that, and I can't afford that either. So it's really, you know, making sure that we do not have to, you know, have a specific name. We do not have to be in this box, right? That labels us, but rather we're girls on bicycles. And then when you see us, you'll say, wow, these are all girls of color. Yes, we are all girls of color riding bikes in the hood. That's just what we're doing. And we're not going to say we're Black girls on bikes, right? I just think it's unnecessary.
Well, also, I think that's the one thing I love about Newark is that it's so kind of, it's true in regards to it being Black centric. It's like, why do I need to say this? That's who I am. Like, why do we always have to speak to white people? Like, the only reason you would say that, like, I wouldn't go, hey, Kayla, hey, Black woman, how are you? Like, we would never do that when we're talking to each other. So why are we labeling things? I mean, of course, Black kids in outer space, I'm being kind of funny, making kind of a joke of the Black kids table and being isolated in outer space. But, you know, on a different level, like, you know, for branding, for grants, all this stuff, why do we always have to create everything in order to speak to someone else? And I think that's wonderful that you were just kind of like, well, obviously, you know, look at the pages, who's there, you know, like, you know, kind of like, you know, that saying that women and girls should not just be default to white. And I think that that's kind of like you challenging that, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
I noticed another thing, and this might be very shallow of me, but I noticed that you're very fashionable. And that's one thing I appreciate. I was like, oh, this stuff is super cute, and all their, you know, when they're riding, they seem like they care, making an effort, like they have a certain kind of style. Like I want to ride with them. So, like, I mean, is this on purpose? Do you guys do you purposely you know, have that? Like, is that something that you guys, you know, your aesthetic, is that part of what you guys do?
Yes, definitely. Being a young person, especially having some experience in the fashion industry, I know that looking a certain type of way, you're able to attract people. People are able to notice you. Now, if I'm just wearing a white shirt and jeans on a bike, people might say, yeah, oh wow, that's a girl on bike. Wow, amazing. But if I'm wearing neat rainbow boots, right? Rainbow 6-inch platform boots with a fur coat, right? And bunny ears, you're like, oh my gosh, who's this person? What is she doing? She's riding a bike. Why is she dressed like that? Is it safe to dress like that when riding a bicycle? You know, all of these questions come into play, and being able to show our style and look fashionable while being on a bicycle, we're able to attract a lot of people. And our target group are mainly high school and college girls. So once they see someone who is attractable, you know, and also that, you know, cares about how they look, yet is still able to do things such as exercise, then it's more of an incentive for them to join the movement, which is girls riding bicycles. As well as, you know, we all know that kids are very hard to attract. You know, sometimes talking to high school students, it's like they don't care what you're saying. They don't want to listen to you. However, if you can look different and stand out different, and they'll be curious to know who you are and why you're wearing 6-inch rainbow boots and you're on a bicycle talking to them about health and participating in recreation activities.
Yeah, no, and I mean, is it open to all genders, like girls on bikes?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So we have a group of guys who usually always ride with us or help us out with our bikes, and we do the same with them, as well as there are men and boys who join our bike rides, which is amazing because we're a women empowerment organization, and we're all about bicycles and style. So when person of the opposite sex is comfortable enough to come into our space and embrace us and support us in what we're doing, that's an amazing feeling to know that, yes, you know, a man or boy is able to agree with our thinking in terms of empowering other women so they can participate in these recreation activities. Because, you know, often we talk to a lot of high schoolers and college students and they don't feel comfortable being on a bicycle because of where they're living or how they perceive themselves or how maybe they think others perceive of them. So if we're able to, you know, bring a gentleman into a space wherein he can is comfortable with being surrounded by other women, and he is able to empower other women as well, that is a great thing. But one thing that we will not do is we will not call them a boy on bike. Excuse me. We will not call them a boy on bike from our organization. If guys want to ride with us, they have to accept that they will be willing to be called girls on bikes. And I'll tell you why, because I just had this conversation with my roommate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oftentimes when we refer to a general population casually, we'll say, yeah, hey guys, like what's going on, guys? Now, verbiage is extremely important. And I always make sure that if I'm talking to a group of girls, I refer to them as girls because that is what they are. They're women. They're a group of girls. And I think that often, you know, times with our language, a lot of the plural, we use a lot of masculine words, and it's important to recognize feminine words as well, and for men to be comfortable with it. So we've highlighted, we do GOB highlights, which is people who we highlight on bicycles every month, and we highlighted a guy on bike, but we're not going to call him a boy on bike because I believe that he is supporting us in our way of thinking of being feminine and being unapologetically so.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure that they are able to see what we're seeing, envision what we're seeing, and support us. And, you know, we will not change our lingo because we're trying to make a statement.
So you guys are a womanist, like feminist kind of organization.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's really important to kind of like, you know, to let people kind of know that and to embrace that and to kind of let people know, like, this is for women. This is for, it's like women empowerment. I mean, I know that's what you kind of, you told me earlier, but I mean, it's, you know, it's very approachable because you're doing things that people kind of like don't associate with, oh, well, Black women, they're not, you know, they're not into being like political in regards to gender. Yes. Oh, Black women aren't into riding bicycles. Oh, you know, if you're Black and you have something, you have to name it this certain thing. And you're kind of like breaking all of those kinds of barriers and walls. You kind of like on your own thing. I know one thing you were talking about when I talked to you earlier was street harassment and how riding in groups kind of helps with that. Did you want to like go into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, oftentimes as women, you know, and any normal day, we can be on a bicycle or not. We can be wearing poom shorts or a maxi skirt, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, you know, our chances of being catcalled are very high. And when you're on a bicycle and, you know, your buttocks is in the air, you know, maybe you're just leaning back on your bike casually, of course, you're bringing more attention to yourself because not only are you a woman, but you're a woman of color and you're in the urban community where oftentimes, you know, that's where the catcalling is conducted. Mm-hmm. And I believe that by riding in a group of girls, you will feel, you know, women feel empowered. You know, they feel strong, they feel comfortable, they feel I'm safe, I'm with my sister who's on a bike, and I know she's looking out for me the same way I'm looking out for her. And, you know, that's another reason why many girls may not feel comfortable riding bicycles because of how others are, how they think others perceive them. They're not comfortable with their bodies. And when they get catcalled, it's even more detrimental because, you know, it's proving their point. Right? It's proving their point that it's not safe to ride in my community. There are a bunch of men looking at me. They're saying things to me, and that should not be the norm. It's important for women to be recognized as women and not as sexual beings, and that we can do whatever we like, whether we're on riding with a maxi skirt or poom shorts, but that doesn't give men the right to catcall to us, as well as, you know, when you're riding with your fellow sister who's on a bike, she's going to ensure that you're safe and that man is not catcalling to you. So that's very important for women to feel empowered through others. So, and I also believe that I think that everyone's purpose on this planet, whether you're a man or a woman, is to be empowered and to empower others. And if you're not doing that on a bike or by walking, then you're not fulfilling your purpose in this world at all.
That's just like, it's so important and so wonderful that you brought up the sexual harassment, because it's, you know, in the Black community, in the urban community, in the working class community, it's such a challenge to talk about it because we kind of don't want to talk about men, African-American men or Latino men, because we feel that they've been attacked so much by the mainstream media. But this is happening to us, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be handled. And for you to kind of like talk about it is a wonderful thing, and just kind of like empowering women in Newark, because this was Dr. Charles, actually not Dr., but Charles Brown, a planner at Rutgers. He was talking about why people didn't feel safe. And he was saying how some women were like, I'm not going to even wear lipstick when I go out because I don't want people to catcall me. I don't want to be sexually harassed. So, the work that you're doing on that level is just wonderful. Now, you were kind of a fun ride, but you went into working with kids. Can you go? Because you said you were talking about the high schoolers, the high school students, things like that.
So initially, Girls on Bikes was to just get girls to ride bicycles, right? To be healthy, to be fit, to feel comfortable in their community. However, when we got the opportunity from Newark Public Schools to conduct a 6-week workshop, wherein we go in to the school after school program and we work with the kids twice a week for 2 hours, and we teach them how to build a bicycle from scratch. And by using every part of the bicycle, we also compare it to a lifestyle skill, wherein kids are able to answer questions that, normally adults don't ask them. So sometimes everyone experiences this. When you're a kid, adults ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You're like a firefighter or a doctor. That's amazing that you want to be those things, right? Mm-hmm. But through this program, we are able to get the detailed answer of helping kids acknowledge what they need to do so. So if that requires going to the library, 3 times a week and reading about firefighting, volunteering at a firefighter station, right? Talking to someone who's a firefighter, doing all of these steps that no one talks about when you're in high school, because a lot of the times it's just general and kids are just saying, yeah, I'm going to become a firefighter. But what if they were so much more prepared before they even was able to set out for that goal, right? What if they did all their homework, went to the library, conducted a research, spoken to a mentor? That would make an amazing change. And I believe that will make that child more empowered when that child chooses whichever position they would like to go in. Mm-hmm. So conducting the 6-week after school program with Newark Public Schools, as well as doing some freelance workshops wherein we ask schools in all over Newark to work with their students. Like, hey, can we do a workshop with your school? It's all pro bono. We just want to talk to your students and see what's on their minds and encourage them to exercise, because, public schools and charter schools are great, but I believe that kids can be participating in more recreation activities where they will enable their minds to be active. And if we can come into your school for an hour and encourage them to do so, that's amazing, because it's rare that someone would say, hey, let's get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and let's run, or let's ride a bike, or let's go to the park and play basketball. You aren't going to do those things unless you're with a friend. And as being a woman, as being a girl, it's not often that your girlfriends are doing recreation activities when they're coming to you like, hey, let's go to the park, let's go ride a bike, let's go run. Those things are unlikely. So that's what we're here to do, to encourage not only girls, but boys too, to participate in more recreation activities outside of school.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was reading this, I was reading about play equity. One of my kind of passions is early childhood education. I was reading about play equity and how African-American children sometimes play like zero minutes a day, and how white children play like 45 minutes a day. And I was like, why is this? Even African Americans that are moderate income, they still are not going outside. And I was doing research and I saw this Dorothy Heights, civil rights leader, Dorothy Heights. She was talking about how she was in Pittsburgh when she was a little kid in 1924, and she tried to go and learn how to swim. And at the YWCA, and how they told her that, we weren't allowed. They did not teach Negro girls how to swim, and we weren't allowed to be in there. I mean, do you think that this impacts still our community in regards to recreation? I mean, you have walking while black, biking while black. You have all these things where, when we do recreation, you have the police department come down on us? I mean, do you think that impacts people? I mean, yes, there's the crime element, but do you think it's just kind of sometimes people just think I'm not allowed to do these things, especially like, you know.
I have to agree with you 1,000% on that, because that's exactly what I was just saying. When people, you know, white people are able to afford $500 to $1,000 bicycle. Like I said, I don't know anyone that's able to do that, nor can I do that. So oftentimes these recreation activities, we're not invited to these spaces. We're not invited to ride bikes that cost $1,000. We're not invited to go to fancy pools, you know, that is not in our community. We are often not invited to play these expensive sports that private schools are able to, as well as, you know, not only are we not invited to these spaces and often not appreciated in these spaces until we are like this giant athletic superstar, right? It's that kids also have other things that's going on in their lives, especially if they live in the urban community. Kids have to take care of their siblings. They have to sometimes work after school. They have to worry about even getting to school. Now, if kids are absent from school because they have so many things that are on their plate related to family and personal matters, now I can imagine the struggle will be to even get a kid to exercise and to feel comfortable in, you know, activities where they're not even represented or welcome to. It's definitely a trend, you know, of things that have been occurring in the past and that are still impacting us now. The only difference is that to realize this now, you have to be looking at it very detailed, right? Look at all the stats and say, well, I'm living on this street. Now, how many kids did I see playing on my street today? If it's 0, then the chances of that child actually participating in recreational activities for that day and getting some exercise and health it's very low. It's very low. And it's important that, you know, we as individuals, like I have a community organization, right? And I encourage people, as well as my team encourages people, to participate in these recreational activities. But we all have an obligation to empower and to encourage kids to do something that they're not often welcome to, such as going to the park, going on a run, riding their bikes. You know, it's all part of a balanced lifestyle. And children right now, they have so many things on their minds and so many things on their plate, especially with media that, you know, a lot of adults didn't have when they were younger. It's very important to help our kids realize the real from what's not real.
I mean, it's just, yeah, it's, you know, that's the work that you're doing is just so important in regards to chronic illnesses, in regards to getting people out there, in regards to changing the narrative, in regards to why we are not out there as much. I mean, I love the fact that we're not invited to these spaces. We're not included in these spaces. And then people wonder, well, why aren't you there? Because you didn't ask me to show up. We're gonna wrap it up because I love talking to you, but I want to keep this short and sweet. So you have okay, 2 questions. How can we help you? And any upcoming events that are happening?
Okay, so yes, we can use all of the help that we can get, all of it, because we are in such a high demand to go into schools and talk to kids, as well as we conduct our own community initiatives as well, that we need all the volunteer support that we can get, because oftentimes kids love to see different faces and they like to know that other people care. All kids want to know and care about is if you care and if you show up. If you show up and you care, if you care and you show up, same thing. It's the same thing. All you have to do is show up for a child, be there for them, and show them that you care and that you care about them participating in recreational activities. Now, things that we have coming up are we have a cleanup on March 31st, this Saturday at 9 a.m. at Rutgers University. We also have our website launch party that we didn't start promoting yet, but we'll promote soon. Right? That will be coming up on April 21st. Okay. And actually the day before that, on April 20th, we'll be at Rutgers University in New Brunswick conducting a GOB picnic that we partner with Are You Curly, which is a school organization there that focuses on the hair of colored women. So we'll be conducting a picnic there to discuss. We'll be discussing all the things that limits women from riding bicycles and participating in recreation activities, such as their hair and sweating and beauty and vanity and and menstrual cycles and how that relates to exercise. We'll be talking about it all.
Well, you need to like figure out a way because I still cannot get a helmet on this. So you need to figure. I'm like I can't do a helmet. So
like we're talking about the spaces we're not invited to, and they don't even make helmets for us.
Exactly. What am I supposed to do? Like I just pretend I have a little helmet like just hanging on my head. It's not even doing anything.
Yes. So.
Okay, so it was so wonderful talking to you. This is Kayla LaFortune of Girls on Bikes. Please support her because she's going to be a superstar. We're going to see her again. Anytime I have an event, she's going to be there because she likes to talk, and I think that she's awesome. All right? So thank you so much for everybody who watched. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Black kids in outer space. Black kids in outer space. Black kids in outer space. Urban planning, walking, bicycling, and more in our space.